What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be reacting to DBG's documentary for NBA 2K24. And these are always some of my favorite videos of the year. Now, just kind of to start this video off, I do want to say, look, 2K24 was horrible. This video is 30 minutes long. I mean, these documentaries literally used to be like 3 hours long. So just know that, like, shout out to DBG for coming up with this, because I don't even know what the documentary I could have made for 2K24 was. It was probably the worst sports game I've ever played in my life. Is it an exaggeration? I don't know. You guys can let me know that down below in the comments. And when I say that, I don't mean as far as like the entire game. Like gameplay is whatever. But as far as like a MyTEAM mode, the worst thing I've ever played. Now, one thing, guys, I always drink coffee, okay? So if you're a part of the channel, man, you know, my mug is so hot this morning, man. We've got a coffee ready for the DB documentary, man. I don't know, for this reaction, if you got to get your popcorn out, whatever, man. But make sure you're locked in, because I'm excited to talk about all of these things, especially because I'm going to be doing 2K25 content. And it's got to be way better than the dog water mode that was 2K24. Shout out to DBG. Once again, my go.
So NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. An absolute disaster of a year. A year that may have killed MyTEAM, but if it hadn't killed MyTEAM, it's a year that's killed all trust between the consumers and 2K themselves.
And genuinely, guys, I think it's kind of how things have been trending. Downward.
It is a year 2K may never recover from. And with the 2K25 dev blog coming out tomorrow, I need to make this video.
And the blog, I gotta say, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The signs are pointing upwards, but it doesn't matter if the game is not good. Know what I'm saying? Like, that can only matter so much.
This is the 2K24 documentary. This is not going to be a documentary like other years, where I talk about the positives and I talk about the negatives.
There were no positives.
This is not going to be a documentary where I even talk about things that happen in the community, positive or negative, because there was no positive things that happened in the community. There were only negatives. We lost so many content creators to the stage now where the only people still making content are JC and people who are...
Genuinely, everybody's like, oh, haha, you're back, Ty. You guys tell me how I was supposed to make content at the end of last year, the way I like to make content. It was impossible.
We're spending thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars gambling on packs. There is no other content in this community anymore. It's dead. It's the year we saw the end of DBG, which is the channel you're watching right now. It's the year we saw the end, potentially, of TyDeBo.
See, it's sad. It's genuinely sad. Like, I hope content can be what it once was on my channel. I genuinely do, but... even me, like, I'm, I guess, trying to make this work, but it's like, 2K's got to do their thing, man.
It was the year we saw the end of the
This is
250K.
done.
It was the year we saw the end of the auction house. It was the year
It's
we
back.
saw the end of sniping.
It's
It was
back.
the year we saw the end of MyTEAM. So as always, we have to start the year with the initial blog. A blog that is coming tomorrow for 2K25.
They took the
And
player
if you
market.
guys believe a word 2K say in the 2K25 blog.
And what they said about it and completely lied.
After reading it, you might as well look up because there's gullible written on the ceiling. So the first thing 2K obviously talked about was the player market. And their main selling point was that the player market was going to make cards easier to obtain. Their main selling point was that cards were going to be able to sell for more in their market than they would have previously sold for. And that there were going to be ways of getting
fair for
hollows and
everyone.
grading cards to be able to sell your cards for more. They made it out in a way that if you bought a card and you didn't like it, you were basically able to sell it for whatever the tax was. The way I thought about it, and the way a lot of people did, was that it was going to be a 10% tax like last year. You buy a card, you sell it back for the 10% tax. You can basically buy it and sell it back for whatever the card costs.
Especially right away when you bought it. Like, I get after a while it continues to go down steadily, but right away should not be a, what was it, 60% tax? It's ridiculous.
That's what it seemed like. Their goal was to make cards more accessible. Not only did they not do that, as you'll see later on
I mean, there were no budget cards either. Let's be honest, there was none.
in this video,
No cards even
they
available.
actually not only removed the accessibility from getting cards in the player market, they just removed the vast majority of cards in the player market entirely.
It was absolutely
As
ridiculous.
the year went on, it went from a few cards being not in the player market, but mostly in the player market, to by the end, us getting 25 new cards a week, and 3 of them being in the player market. I was somebody...
For 315,000 empty at the end of the year. So I get it. Yes, there's only 3 players. That's the worst part. But the worst part to me is that those 3 specific players were such low overalls.
That was very, very skeptical of this. I was not a fan of what 2K were doing. I thought it meant that 2K had the power to basically do whatever they wanted. They had.
I'm still in support of, if you open packs during that time, guys, you help support them, because that cannot be sustainable. It can't be something that if sales go down this year, they go back to that. That was horrible, guys. It was horrible.
Power at a moment's notice of screwing over the player base. And from day one, they did. A lot of people ignored the fact that we were getting cards for 150,000 MT that would have been 15k in other years. These Amethyst cards were crazy. Not only that, when you bought them and sold them, they sold for a 60% tax. The tax went from 10% to 60%. But if you were using VC, it was a lot easier to get these players. It was a lot cheaper.
It was, because you could buy all of them, which I actually don't mind the VC discount, honestly. If you don't want to open packs, like, I didn't hate that part of it, I guess.
These players. And that happened for a while. Up until February, the game mode became more pay to win than ever.
Man, when they dropped this 100 ream, it was over. It was over. It was legitimately, the game mode was fried and rice. It was over.
As the seasons went on, and it actually even got worse after this, it cost more and more money to buy the cards. The cards became more expensive, and being no money spent was next to impossible. Unless, of course, you got in on one of the glitches. There were 2 glitches.
I will say with MyTEAM Mobile, literally you could basically, I don't know, you could make MT, but it was just, it wasn't fun, guys. It wasn't fun.
Rudy Gobert glitch, which allowed you to buy Rudy Gobert for 1,000 MT, and you were able to sell him.
I wasn't home for this,
I think it was 60,000 MT, something like that. And you could do that every single second. You could do it once a second. So people were making 15 million MT in 15 minutes and buying every single card in the game. Anyone who locked in, you got your cards. Everyone did that's MT got set to 0. Then there was the Paul George glitch, where a bunch of people got a bunch of cards, a load of people got a bunch of MT, and it's same thing happened again. You could buy every card in the game, but your MT got reset to 0. If you bought every card, didn't lock in, and sold them, you got.
Which is crazy how different 2K handles glitches from EA. EA basically ignores them. 2K does, I guess, reset the MT to 0, but I don't even like that. I don't like resetting the MT to 0. Like, they should go in, if it's their fault, and I know it might be hard to do, and reset the accounts back to what they were if that's really what they want to do.
3 million MT. Not a crazy amount, and not enough to even last you 3 weeks of getting the best cards. But in the 2 months after
3 weeks, let alone 2 weeks.
People blamed the Paul George glitch for everything. And 2K were rubbing their hands together, thinking, you know what? We can screw over people, and people are going to blame their players, just like people blamed people buying MT for losing the auction house in the first place.
It's not people's fault. I will say at this point, like, guys, I mean, I would not buy MT, but I will say this. I will say this to that end. If 2K does things like they did last year, I will not care. I genuinely will not care. Because if they treat us the way they did last year, why do they deserve our respect? Just my opinion. Again, I'll never promote it. I don't recommend it, but that's where I'm at with it. Like, they better treat us, you know, with just some dignity, man. If you tell people something, you better hold true to it. It's that simple.
Up until February, this game mode was pay to win. It was cheaper than other years because you could buy every card outright, but it was pay to win. Morally, ethically, I have no issue with that. It is a microtransaction that a company puts into the game. The cards had a set value. Whether you agreed or didn't agree with the value,
in my opinion,
you could go straight out and buy them. Whether it be MT or VC. They were normally not the...
Yo, what is is that Smirnoff? What is DBG got back there, man? I don't know. My face cam might be covered.
Worst MT prices. You could normally afford one high tier card a week if you earned the MT.
I gotta lock back in.
But then the mode no longer became a MyTEAM game mode. It became a casino. So when we talk about MyTEAM, we have to look back at the very start of MyTEAM. What was the greatest thing about it? The fact that you could put LeBron, KD, Derrick Rose all on the same team. What was the biggest flaw of the first MyTEAM? Was that you couldn't really use historic players. You had to open them in packs. And the big issue with that for me was always that if you were getting these historic players, you kind of had to open the packs. But again, you could buy a pack. It was like 15 players you could get for $10. It wasn't that crazy. And also, this was during a time where there was no real badges. There was nothing. So we had silver Robert Pack, who was better than LeBron James. Silver Gerald Green. We had bronze Orlando Johnson, if you guys remember back that far, who was an absolutely dominant player. And as the years went on, the game mode became, as much as it did become more expensive to get the top tier cards, we always saw the budget cards. This
And
time,
look, I'm not even going to sit up here in front of you guys, and because I know what DBG is going to get into. I think if you are responsible with gambling, whatever, if you're responsible, but the hard part is people aren't responsible. I'm just talking, not even 2K, I'm talking about general. Hard part is people aren't responsible, number one. Number two, the problem is it's an addiction that there should be other avenues for, other options for. The problem with 2K is there was not other options. If you were not going to gamble last year, there was no reason to play the game.
2 years ago, Luka, who's the best card in the game, was 3,000 MT. This time, 3 years ago, you could buy a full Invincible squad, which is the equivalent of GOATs right now.
Right now, you couldn't buy anything.
100k MT, which was
I could log into 2K and not buy anything.
You could come into the game, and you could get, within an hour, a plethora of choice of 199 overall cards. That's gone. From All-Star Weekend, that game mode that we knew no longer existed. But this was the day everything changed. This was the day that 2K turned a video game into a casino.
They did 100% last year. No matter what approach you take to it, they 100% did. I couldn't make top 10s, couldn't make tier lists because no cards were accessible. They were all gambling.
On this day, you could no longer buy the best cards in the game,
or the cards you wanted.
That remained till the end of the year. Every single season, people thought 2K are going to let us buy the cards now. 2K are going to let us buy the cards now. They're going to let us buy the cards now.
I did think eventually they would.
At no stage in the year was the best LeBron, KD, Giannis, Wemby, trying to think who else are big names, available without gambling. Never again did we see a Michael Jordan. If you wanted a Michael Jordan at the end of the year and you wanted to go and buy one, obviously there was a free.
And look at the price. Look at the price too. 100,000 coins for this card who stunk at this current time.
Challenge for one. The cheapest Michael Jordan by the end of the year was 90,000 MT. That is about 9 hours of playing the game for a Michael Jordan from October. A card that would have been 900 MT a year ago. But as time went on, things didn't get better. They brought in a system where if you wanted one of the top tier cards, you had to lock in an entire set.
Lock in an entire set and then gamble on a random card that 2K decided to give you. This was so bad, dude. Like, I've been away from the game mode so long and haven't thought about it for so long. I really forgot how bad this game really was. After playing other games, guys, this game was horrible.
These sets cost upwards of 500k a week through Season 5 and Season 6, and then from Season 7 onwards became closer to 1 million MT a week to lock in for a better player.
For a better player that you didn't even know you were going to get, and some of those cards were not good either.
100 overall cards, which were literally just worse versions of what Invincibles used to be. They were nothing new. They just brought in a random tier that made no difference to the game. And they then made it so that you would have to lock in a bunch of players you would never use to go and get a better player. And in previous years, you might be saying, they've done this before. No. You would lock in a set, and you would get a headliner.
A headliner, and you knew who it was.
For a lock-in, who was often the best card in the game. In this year's game, you locked in an entire set to get a 1 in 5 chance of a higher tier player in a pack that was heavily rigged for you to get.
It was. It's not even an equal chance pack either.
One of the 2 to 3 worst players. So you would see constant people who locked in for scrub opals, scrub dark matter, scrub 100 overalls. Very rarely did you ever see the best of them. And very rarely did you ever see anybody.
Like, he had to just DBG just locked in 1 million plus MT for Patrick Ewing. That is unsellable. And all the rest of the cards are unsellable. And Ewing is fine. He was fine. But like 1 million MT locked in for Patrick Ewing.
This effectively made MT, the currency, useless. The currency meant nothing anymore. Back in the day, if you had 5,000 MT, at any stage in the game, you could go into the auction house and you could either buy a lower rated version of one of your favorite players, or you could go and look up a DBG or a TyDeBo video and you could see who the best players in their 5K were.
Exactly. That our channels were cooked because you could no longer do that.
These options throughout the years. We had Wesley Person in 23, and 23 was the worst year for it. In 2K22, there were so many guys. Like, throughout the year, I remember going on a 30-game win streak in Unlimited with my entire team costing less than 10,000 MT. This was a thing back in the day. And this year, 10,000 MT cannot get you a day one ruby. As the year went
Think
on,
about
it
how
became
sad
more and
that
more
is.
egregious. What started off as sometimes people locking in, as soon as people ran out of their MT, they realized.
Like, here's the thing. You'd lock in the pink diamonds, and you'd get probably Kyrie Irving or Hidu, who wasn't great. You'd rarely get a guy like Ron Artest.
It was going to cost $50 a week in order to get one card that may or may not make your team.
And it was a
not
random
only
card. It
that,
might not even
as
be
the
a card
weeks
you
went on,
want.
that $50 became $60, which that $60 became $75 and eventually became nearly $100 to end the year. And this is to get one player that may or may not make your team. But during all this, the Kobe situation happened.
This was
And I think a lot of people are going to talk about the fact 2K didn't have the rights. And I think there were some rights issues. I don't know what the rights issues are because 2K didn't give us another Kobe in MyTEAM, but they kept giving him out in MyTEAM Mobile. They kept him in the game. So I don't know what the rights issue was. But right up until the hour.
literally waited till the last minute. People thought they were going to get Kobe, and then they switched it last minute.
Kobe Bryant was the collector level reward. People spent thousands. Up to get first Kobe was $30,000. It was
ridiculous.
something
It's a ridiculous
that
amount.
we've never seen since they took our LeBrons at Christmas. It was an absolute shambles. Mainstream media was talking about it. 2K stringing people along till the very end. There's no way they found out an hour before that they didn't have the rights to Kobe.
No chance.
They just didn't. And if there was any questionable things, whether or not they had the rights, they should have been figured out at the start of the year. Even if it's out of 2K's hands. The fact that it got until 1 hour to go and people kept putting more and more and more and more money into the game, and I don't mean hundreds, I mean tens of thousands of dollars into the game for this Kobe card, and you thought it was okay to give them anything other than what they paid for? If it wasn't for the fact...
Like, you guys got to realize, I don't know, a collector level literally is 20 to 30,000, like he said, to get the first collector. It is not okay to take that away last second. That's not okay.
After you
It's
put
just
in
not.
terms of service to say cards had no value, then they might have sued. But also, a lot of people signed the terms of service that they're not allowed to sue 2K. Regardless of what whether the outcome was going to be the same, the way 2K handled the Kobe situation was one of the scummiest things I've seen a company do. And even if it's out of their hands, why not put an empty amount of, let's just say, I don't know, to buy all the cards might have cost 30 million MT. Maybe once you get all those cards, 10 million MT. So at least these people won't have to spend money the rest of the year after being freaking scammed. Maybe if you got that card within a certain
I'm
amount-
still a believer that you should have gotten some sort of monetary value back. Like that, if I was going for collector level, I would. There's just no right answer. People wanted Kobe Bryant, dude. That's what they got promised in the blog. You can't just go back on your word. Otherwise, don't announce anything. What? Like, what are we
time
talking
you got
about?
10 million MT. You didn't. You just threw 200 overall cards. And the worst part about it all is there's only one good 100 overall card in the game at the time. Yao Ming. You didn't
He wasn't
put
even
him in the packs.
available.
You didn't even put Yao in the packs. You know why? Because you know later down the
2K
line.
is so dang like this is what I'm saying. Last year they did not care about the community. They didn't.
People are going to buy more and more and more to try to get Yao Ming because he's 7'6". Was a complete coward move. It was a refusal to not in any way help out the people you scammed. It was basically a tough. There's nothing we can do. Tough. Oh, you want to complain? Insert South Park, I'm sorry meme. Tough. And yes,
They did
you can
not
argue
care.
2K gave a bunch of free cards. And yes, that was a positive. They did give more
This
free
is
cards
too
than
late.
they
This is after everybody left the
did
game
those
mode,
free cards
including
ever
myself.
compare to the cards you could gamble? No. The free cards and every single system in this game, it was to keep the players hooked. The free cards took longer than ever before.
Like, what are we
and they
talking
became
about here?
less than ever before. If you went out with a team of free cards, you stood no chance. If you went out with a team of budget cards, you stood no chance. And that's the first time this has ever happened. As someone who built a career on free and budget cards, you stood no chance. I'm going to be honest, you stood absolutely no chance. And they were all just mechanisms to keep people in the game. If they were going to give you a free card that was an absolutely incredible, like high overall, they would make sure that card sucked. And not only that, they took all the card collecting, they took all the team building out of MyTEAM.
That's not the biggest, but one of the biggest problems I personally had with the game is it didn't feel like a team building mode. It felt like literally a gambling simulator for an ultimate team mode. It just wasn't right.
This was not my team.
You could not
go to an auction house and find a bunch of players
it was
you wanted
not
to put
my
into your team. If you bought my team, played the game mode for 24 hours straight, in any other year, you could build a team that you could go in and be competitive online. There were times where, yes, you could get, if you play 24 hours straight, you could get 4 or 5 players in those free grinds through season 5, 6, and 7. You could get those players. But if you went into the player market, 24 hours straight playing, I'm not joking, you could not buy one card above.
And the thing about it is that I don't think a lot of people realize is these cards that we're looking at right here are not that good. Like, look at Mirasan and compare him to Yao. Like, it's not even comparable, guys. For 315,000 MT, it was ridiculous.
Of a pink diamond. And pink diamonds, ridiculous. They intentionally made them bad. In other years, 2K would go out of their way to make budget cards good. They would pace the budget cards with the rest of the game. So while they were upping the pacing, Amethyst suddenly were 100 times better. And Amethyst that was released in May was way better than an Amethyst that was released in September. But this year they didn't pace tiers. A pink diamond that was released in December was better than any pink diamond.
Kobe was really good. And honestly, like, yes, that Kobe was expensive. But at the end of the day, it's like, at least you were guaranteed to get Kobe. Like, you know, like, at least with that, you didn't have to gamble for him.
In June.
It's way better.
Pink Diamond Kobe, you could argue, is the best pink diamond in the game. He came out in December. There were no pacing of tiers. And not only that, they increased the price of every single tier as we went up. By the end of the game, we were getting cards that would have been 5,000 MT last year.
These cards, that's what I'm saying. These cards aren't good. Last year, these cards literally would have been dirt cheap. So cheap. It's ridiculous.
For 300k. Sure, we made MT at probably a 2 times faster rate, and only if you played.
You did make more MT, but it didn't matter.
That doesn't mean that cards should be 60 times more expensive.
They were so much
in
more
a market
expensive.
Controlled by 2K, cards became 60 times more expensive. Cards that we would have never used, that would have been throwaway cards for 5k, but maybe someone might have bought as their favorite player. If your favorite player wasn't one of the GOATs, if your favorite player was, let's just say, for example, a Darius Garland, you're using a scrub Darius Garland because you're paying 300k for a better Darius Garland. If your favorite player is Scoot Henderson, you're paying 150k for a scrub Scoot Henderson. Yeah, 2K did give us free cards.
But like, look at the prices for these cards who stink. And like, that's again the biggest thing I want to tell you guys is these cards were not good that you could get from the player market. They had all of the best cards behind gambling. Basically one of them.
Gave us some free options in the GOAT set, which was good. But putting a few...
But again, even that GOAT set, it came out way too late in the year. Nobody at that point was playing the game. At least nobody that was like fed up with the whole gambling thing was playing the game then. Everybody was just over it at that stage. Because look, if 2K is going to do people wrong for that long, what is the purpose of people still playing the game when the GOAT cards or the GOAT sets are released? Like, they've done the community so wrong. Why would people even be playing the game anymore like me? There's no point.
A game that is really just designed to drain your wallet, especially when the free versions of cards in general either had poor positions, they were slow, they couldn't dribble. In Yao Ming's case, was one of the worst cards in the game. But you better believe when they gave you the free card, you would use that free card, they would hope you would come up against somebody better or someone with the better version of the card, and they would hopefully force you.
And they'd want you to go buy those packs. Yep, he's true. He's true. And I never had thought about that point, but it's true. It is, 100%.
That's all this game was. This game was the death of all Ultimate Team.
It's just greed, man.
What do we play Ultimate Team for? We play Ultimate
to build a team. To build a team of the players you want to play with. It's not rocket science.
Team modes. So we can use our favorite players. We can build the team that we want. We can have some freedom.
It's not hard.
And for me, I like using different players. And I know a lot of people do as well. You can have some freedom in building squads. There is some sort of competition. And there is...
I mean, you can say there's some sort of competition. Last year, like, there wasn't. Like, even, you could talk about the leaderboards. They were broken last year, too.
Keep trying to get better.
There's no reason to be good at the game.
But what 2K did was none of that. They pigeonholed you into using a certain number of players every week. And if you did not play this game every hour of every day...
Literally, that's where I got to a point. I wanted MT so bad that I was playing like on MyTEAM Mobile. Like I would hang out with my wife now and feel like I need to play MyTEAM Mobile so I could, you know, keep my team up to date, so I could give you guys the content you deserved. It was so unhealthy. For everybody that says, oh, Ty, you're back, of course. No, last year was the most unhealthy I've been as a content creator by far in my entire life. It's not even remotely close. And again, I was at the airport, and instead of just chilling, I was playing MyTEAM Mobile, seeing how many coins I could make while I was lit. It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. You were playing MyTEAM Mobile for fun, I don't care. Playing it so you feel like you can get the new cards for the new players. It was sad. It was sad.
You're not even going to be able to afford a card every week from the player market, let alone the 3.
I genuinely mean this when I say this. I hope MyTEAM Mobile is done. I want it done. I don't like MyTEAM Mobile at all. I don't care if people can open packs, whatever, off MyTEAM Mobile, but that's it. I don't like MyTEAM Mobile. I think it's just going to be a thing where MT bots can use that and have success with that. I do not want MyTEAM Mobile in 2K. I just don't.
5 needed.
And I played it a lot, and I'd love for the auction house maybe to be on the game, but it's like, it's just going to end up being bad for the community. I'm telling you guys that right now. To lock in
for a set, to have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a good card that you wanted from what was a random pack. You were locking in sets to gamble. You were either gambling for cards.
That's what it was. It was all gambling.
You were either gambling for cards with your virtual money, or you were spending your virtual money,
or you were spending all your time in the world
to lock in sets to gamble. Because if you did none of those things, there were about 5 cards throughout the year that were capable of.
And there was nothing to play the game mode for.
No longer could I go and use Wesley Person. No longer could you go and see these guys in the auction house. Because if you were not grinding this game out all day, every day, you missed the slight window to get these guys when they were free. The removal of 250k was done for no other reason than
they couldn't run it properly. Let's be honest. That's the reason.
Bad PR. 2K did not know how to run a tournament.
Thank you.
They didn't know how to run something properly, and they wanted to get rid of certain people. We saw that from the 1-up tournaments, banning people from entering because they got kicked out of 250k the previous year.
They did it. Yep, they did it. They wanted to set a tone. Yep, they banned people from competing that were previous. And I know that look, all I'm gonna say is this: I know more than people think that I know. And if it weren't for some specific people saving the day in that situation, I'd be cooked. I'd be cooked. And I won $100,000 at that tournament last year. So if it weren't for those certain people, my life would look, I don't want to say it would look a lot different, but I'd be $100,000 is a lot of money. Okay, so for them to take that away because people bought MT, in which nearly everybody bought MT, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Every comp player bought MT. It is what it is. 2K, again, it's just the greed. It's just that they do want certain people out of the community, and then it goes as far as when we're limited on what we can even say. I don't even want to get canceled, so I'm just gonna keep watching the video, okay? Because I don't want to get canceled by 2K. I don't. I want them to at least tolerate me. So here we go.
If you bought MT and didn't make 250k, were you allowed to play? Yes. Yes.
Yeah. How backwards is that, right? So if my brother, let's say he didn't play the game, but let's say he bought MT and didn't qualify for 250, he could have played last year. Makes no sense.
Because it was never about stopping people.
But it did work. We were allowed to in the end. But at first, it said you were not permitted. You're, like, not allowed. It was ridiculous.
From buying MT. It was about stopping certain people getting into positions. It was about stopping TyDeBo's face being everywhere. It was about stopping Splash. And then we see when Ty makes the 1-up final, everyone being like he's one of the greatest ever. Shout out Dirk for saying that. Because if 2K had their way, TyDeBo would not have been there. The great...
And the craziest thing about it all is the fact that, again, there's certain people that are in your corner, right? And they let you know that. There's other people that aren't in your corner. And then they put on a face like they are, and you could tell deep down they're not. They're not. And the worst part about it is 2K don't care. Like, they genuinely do not care. They do not care. If I was 2K, I'd want to work with content creators. That's just me. I see it with, I see it with Madden quite a bit. I'd want to work with content creators. It's how you grow your community. 2K needs to take some notes. That's all I'm going to say. But shout out to Rello. Rello was the best last year. He deserved to win it. Oh, okay. That's all I want to say. Rello was tough.
Greatest player in the history of 5v5 2K. A company that makes the game is doing everything in its power to make sure the greatest player in the history of the game isn't allowed to play or isn't getting anything out of the game.
I'm telling y'all this right now. If there's a tournament this year, I'm gonna go harder than probably I've ever went. And I say it a lot. Like, there's been years, like, especially early on, like 2K21, I play the game way too much. But I'm over them wanting this. Like, it's horrible.
I think 2K are happy that he's quit. And even just having fun and trying out different players, which for me was the reason why I fell in love with Ultimate Team. Finding hidden gems, finding out who works. I couldn't do it.
Shout out DBG.
I didn't have enough hours to grind for the free cards, nor did I have enough MT to buy anybody. As someone who plays this game for a living, and even was at the time, I had other stuff to do. I did not have the time to grind for players when they were there for a limited time. I did not have the time to grind the MT to buy a single card. My team from March was the same as my team at the end of the year, because after one too many weeks of just not being able to get new cards, I just said, screw this, I'm done.
That's kind of how I got. Eventually, it's just overwhelming.
A lot of other people have felt that way. But the only problem is that 2K as a whole, they don't care. They don't care.
I genuinely don't know what to believe. Like, I genuinely don't think 2K cares. But they put on this face. Oh, we heard the community. We're listening. I don't believe that either. I think the moment things go rough is the moment they're going to do it the exact same thing to us. So just kind of beware. If things go well, I'll apologize to 2K. I will.
Only reason they're going to be dragging people into this game is to get people hooked on gambling, to get people hooked on buying packs. And I know people in this company will not see it that way, but their microtransactions is buying packs. They have effectively made it so that there is no way of buying players anymore. There's no way of using your VC to buy players. Every single thing is gambling. So whether they want to admit it or not, their entire marketing plan is to get people hooked on gambling. Through their MT, buying packs being the really only way to use it. Through VC, no longer allowing you to buy the best players.
And again, I get the Ultimate Team modes, my team, it's a microtransaction game, but there needs to be another side of it where there is an auction house and you let people to do it that way.
Ethical and moral issues that I have with this game. There are ethical and moral issues that a lot of people have with this game. And what 2K have done in this game, in my team, should be the death of it. This mode shouldn't have lasted a year. Some federal agency should have shut down this game mode, or at least made it so that you had to be over 18 to play. Because
that's fact. I agree. I agree with that. That's a fact.
Gambling. There's no two ways about it. What 2K are doing is trying to groom people into becoming more and more open to gambling. And the worst part is that there are kids playing this game. And the reason why I have to say this is, as a person who was a gateway for people to come into this game, as a person who brought a lot of new players into this game and helped a lot of new players who were struggling find their foot and helping them out with this game, I know for a fact at least one person, but it's probably in the hundreds, probably don't even realize it, have become pack addicts and gambling addicts on a game that I probably brought them into.
And that is crazy to like put it in that perspective, because it's true. It is true.
That's something that I hate the fact I have to live with. And it's something that I still, to this day, feel really bad about. And as bad as this game has been throughout the year, the game ended in an even worse state. And I'm going to show you guys what my team looks like right now. So this is the current state of my team.
Man, when I logged on my team the other day, I'd never logged off a game so quickly. I'm going to go into 2K25 with 3 million MT just to prove a point. Like, I do not need to gamble to have fun in the game. Like, and if a game does not allow me to do that, then okay. Like, there's no point in playing it. That's the truth. It's just the truth.
As you can see, packs, salary cap, which in fairness was probably the one good thing about this mode.
They brought salary cap back,
roads,
which is
250,
good.
Packs. If you want to go into the player market, as someone with 90,000 MT, I want to find the last player that I can buy. So this is 90,000 MT. Is about 10 hours worth of playing this game. So I want to keep scrolling. The last player that I could buy was from Splash Zone, which was Season 7.
That's literally so
The most
sad. And
recent-
the players that are, they stink. Shout out Robert Covington, but the players stink.
The player that I could buy was in Season 7. I know I have 128k VC. That's not going to be spent. But there are still cards up. A Scrub Brian Scalabrine, Jonathan Bender, and Mirasan. 315k. If you go to my collection, I got a couple of free players. I got I think
His
I got
account
them over.
low-key looks like mine. I just have a lot more MT, but I mean, just from like the last time we played the game, DBG's played the game more recently than even I have. I did not play in Season 7.
I can't even remember where I got some of these guys from. Like, I think I got Sar from a free pack. Like, this is...
The Pink Diamond Chet was immaculate. Like, $200, you get a free Pink Diamond Chet, one of the best bigs in the game. Where is that type of stuff?
This is my team.
That was
I
so
spent so
good,
much time
guys.
grinding on
That was
these accounts.
so elite.
I spent so much money on this account. Sorry, this is my money spent account. For that. For nothing. If I want to go out online with a team that I spent, again, a lot of money on, I'd have nothing. I'd be screwed.
I mean, he's got Dr. J, but at this stage of the game,
I'd
he's
be
not
absolutely
that
screwed.
good.
I wouldn't win a game. If I wanted to go to agendas, I need to win
Come on, man. You need to win 400 clutch time games. Let's be realistic.
400 clutch time offline games for anything.
Let's be realistic.
This was the time every year where we would come back into my team and we would just go out there and use our favorite cards.
Yeah, because you could buy everything off the auction house.
This is on an account where I've spent over €1,000. I'm embarrassed to say I did, but I spent over €1,000 on this account.
Hold on,
My
BBG.
best player right now is Kevin Love. I have a Dr. J somewhere. I have Dr. J.
You spent over 1,100 United States dollars? Nah, I spent probably 700 on my main account last year, so I can't act like I'm that much better.
I have a chat.
Don't look at
I
me like
guess.
that. Once gambling like got to be extreme, I didn't spend any money. So like from January on,
Free.
maybe it was even, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my logs, but I didn't spend that much money after they did what they did.
Jason Kidd.
And that's the truth.
Just because I missed some stuff. The best player currently on my team, again, is Alex Sar. This is a team that I have right now. And I could not go out there online and win.
Where's his Dr.
And there
J
is
at?
literally no way for me to compete without spending money. If you want to go to the pack market, in a pack market where you see these packs here, these go
Man,
up.
you used to buy these with MT and they were sellable. Now, they're not even sellable. Like, I know it's a small thing at the end of the year, but it's still something that they're holding on to. It's ridiculous.
Endgame Deluxe, 22,000 VC last year. 79k VC this year. 79k.
Nearly a
Bro, it was
400%
22k
increase.
last year. Invincible, 49k. 15k last year. 100 overall was not even a freaking thing last year. The most useless thing they've ever brought in.
100 overalls was
Season 8 Super Packs. 11,000 VC. 175,000 MT. These
Look at the amount
were
of
guaranteed
MT
Dark Matter last year.
compared to VC. It's
Were
ridiculous.
11,000 VC. 20,000 MT. You see these packs right here for 21,000 MT. Do you know what the odds of getting an endgame card was last year? 25%. The odds this year, 12. That's not actually even that bad. But they've halved the odds and charged the same price. They've halved
pretty
the
sad
odds,
to
charged
me.
the same price, and for guarantees, you are now spending 4 times as much. And again, you are spending 8 times as much on this pack right here. Because they've decided that they wanted to make 99 overalls 350.
And y'all can think whatever y'all want. Inflation not this bad, all right? I know y'all people, some people out there, okay, they think inflation, through the roof. Whoa. Okay, and no matter what inflation is, I don't know the specifics. I'm not into all that, but it can be this bad. I promise you that.
15k, and they don't want people farming
2K,
MT
can
due
you
to the
just
player
raise
market.
it what inflation is?
For people wondering why this pack is so expensive at MT, it's the
Look up
player market.
inflation prices.
So we're now at a point in the game where we are at the end of August, and in a
Inflation's like what? 3%? Come on, 2K. Come on, 2K.
Normal 2K year. If you wanted to play this game from the start of August, end of August, whenever it was, you could just very easily go boot up the game, have a good squad like that, and you can go and play. I have put €1,000 into this game. I have no sellable cards. I have no usable cards.
Come on, man.
And I have no ability to get any cards without spending real life money. That is the final state of the MyTEAM game mode.
It needs a complete revamp heading into the new year.
The game was at times.
It does.
This is the final state of the MyTEAM game mode.
Because if we get this again next year, I'm out.
Absolute
I'm out.
Embarrassment from 2K.
And
you guys know we're ending this video on a song.
You made a new mode, a mode where we could build the best team. LeBron and Kobe, Jules and KD.
You literally could use all your favorite cards.
Our lineups. As the years went on, it kept getting better. The auction house, sniping to every bit for K seasons. My team was on top, but what did you do, 2K? You had it all and you blew it. What did you do, 2K? You turned the mode into a casino.
It's just sad because my team was so it was on top. It was so fun, especially like during the COVID years, man. So good.
What did you do, 2K? You took a player base into addicts. In 2K24, you removed the auction house. The player market started fine, but you just couldn't keep it. Revenue was down, so you blew it up. You got rid of the market, now we have to get bold. But what did you do, 2K? You had it all and you blew it.
They did have it all, man. I'm genuinely serious. They had it all.
What did you do, 2K? You turned the mode into a casino. What did you do, 2K? You turned the player base into addicts. And now we wait for 2K25. You're gonna promise the world. The SROS doesn't make his millions from gamers. He made.
How much did that say?
Promise the world. The SROS doesn't make his millions.
Wait. Man, what? Alright, bro. That's it for me, man. 72 mil, and they can't hand out 250. I'm out. I love y'all, man. 2K25 was a disaster. Let's pray. Let's hope. 2K24 was a disaster. Let's pray and hope 2K25 is better. I need it. Y'all need it. We need it. Let's hope. Shout out to DBG. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.